Hello family, welcome back to another YouTube video, and if it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Lucy Brown. I do hope that you enjoy this video and enjoy the content as well. And if you're not part of this family, please do make sure you consider becoming part of this family by hitting the subscribe button down below. And as you've seen from the title of today's video, in today's video, we are going to be discussing the truth about soulmates. Does the one truly exist? The notion around soulmates and the notion around the one is a romantic notion that we encounter at a really young age through fairy tale stories, where the characters live happily ever after. I'm sure you can attest to this, those Cinderella stories, those stories that we've watched. I know that there's a fairy tale story that you grew up watching, and these two people spend their whole lives or spend the whole fairy tale looking for one another because they're just not compatible with anyone else. And then when they finally meet one another, they live happily ever after. And that's exactly the notion of soulmates and the one. You are basically in search of that one person that's just going to get you on levels that everyone else cannot get you on. The idea that God has created a specific spouse for each person as a soulmate or even perfect fit, and apart from that specific person you will never be happy, is just not a biblical idea. God does not have the one as your perfect spouse created from the beginning of time. Coming to think about it, if the one truly did exist and you were created for one person, and that apart from this one person you will never find happiness, what happens when this one person that you're predestined to be with passes away or leaves the earth way before you actually meet them? Does that then mean the next person that you are going to be with, you are then taking someone else's the one? Like, it just complicates the whole matter, and complicates the matter in a sense that if you aren't with the person that you're predestined to be with, wouldn't that mean that the chances of people not being with their soulmates is quite high, and thus meaning that people aren't really happy? Like, it just doesn't hold for me. I know some people are of the impression that you can have more than one soulmate, but then how do you then determine how many soulmates you have or how many soulmates you are predestined to be with? It just doesn't add up for me, aside from the fact that it's just not biblical. The problem with this type of thinking is that it just creates or puts us in a place where we start or begin to think that we won't be complete until we find the soulmate. And hence, in the fairy tale stories, these people are just after something that's going to make them complete. And they're looking for this person that's just going to complete them. And this is not to say that God doesn't know the type of person or the person that you're going to end up with, right? Or a person that he knows that you will be happy with, because after all, he is all-knowing. And again, it's not to say that people should settle with just anyone because the one does not exist, but it is to say that there are healthier measures and healthier ways that we can go about when in search or when looking at settling down with a compatible person. Keyword compatible, i.e. compatibility. I can also see and I can also get why some people might not even find a problem with this notion of the one and this notion of soulmates. I can see why they wouldn't, or why they don't think it's a problem, or why this type of thinking is a problem. Because I mean, everyone wants to be, or at least end up with the person who gets them and who understands them, right? But the idea of a perfect mate or perfect spouse is just not realistic, guys. And I just want to get into the dangers of actually having such a mentality, no matter how innocent you may think it is. People who have this type of mentality don't date healthily, or they don't date in a healthy way. They dismiss a lot of potential partners because of this notion that they're chasing a perfect mate. They actually think that there's a perfect person being designed specifically for them. I mean, the word perfect would give you a clue that it's just sideways, because hello, which rock are you hiding under? People aren't perfect and neither are we. So there you are, there's a potential person in your life that is compatible with you, but because there's a certain area where this person just doesn't seem to get you, you just like, no, they clearly aren't my perfect mate, so I'm gonna let them go because my perfect mate would get me on all levels. And I mean, even the relationship that we have with ourselves, there are some things that we truly do not understand about ourselves, and some things that we can't truly put a pin on it of why we act in certain ways. Thus, growth is so important. Growth is so important in terms of our relationships with ourselves. Some people even take further steps of going to therapy so that they can have a better relationship, not only with other people, but a better relationship with themselves. So if we ourselves are growing in our relationship with ourselves, in understanding ourselves, wouldn't it be only fair to extend the same grace to the next person, or especially a person that has potential, to say that you might not get me in this type of department or in this type of way rather, but I'm going to give you the grace to at least get to try and know me, or get to try and understand me in that type of way. As long as this person has or carries the fundamental things that you desire and want out of a potential partner or out of a partner. And just the way there's certain things that you also are not going to get or understand about this person, right? But you grow in your knowledge and in your understanding of people. And so at times when we don't have a full understanding and we don't know or understand people really well, we can interpret that as they're just not a perfect fit for me, or they're just not a good fit for me. And all it is just an area of growth. And that does not necessarily mean that you won't be happy with the person. Another danger with this thought pattern or this type of thinking is that the notion of the perfect mate or the notion about the one promises a type of fulfillment that you can only get from one set or this specific person. And being in a relationship with this type of person is incredibly difficult. There's literally nothing that you can do or say that will fulfill or make this person happy. They can literally like write down a list for you and tell you that these are the things that I want you to do in order for me to be happy in this relationship. And you can go ahead and do everything on that list to the T, and they still won't be happy just because they just believe that you're just not the one for them. And that's incredibly sad, because on your end, you might think that this is someone that I truly see a future with. We are so compatible on so many levels. And you can end up interpreting the type of energy and actions that you're getting from them as that you are just not good enough. So there you are, pushing yourself to the lens, like doing your most for this person. But everything you do is just gonna leave you with the feeling that there's just something that you aren't doing that isn't enough, which might not even be the case. So the danger in that is that you can just never fulfill this type of person. Not only can you never ever please them or do anything that's good enough if they don't think that you are their soulmate, they are additionally likely to see a hiccup as a deal breaker. So yes, these type of people will get into a relationship with you, but chances are from the get-go, they know or they've decided whether you are their soulmate or not. So they'll continue dating while they are in search or while they are on their way to find their soulmate, because for them they believe that all of these events and all of these people are just adding up or serving as building blocks to get them to a place where they finally or eventually meet their soulmate. So there you are in a relationship with this person, and in this one night you are just so tired and you get to bed and you're like, I'm gonna call this person, and then out of exhaustion you fall asleep. I mean, that's a natural thing, right? But you try and explain it to them and all of a sudden they're like, no, that's a deal breaker, like I'm breaking up with you. Like, that isn't reason enough, or for me at least, I don't think that is a big enough reason for you to cut off a person or to break off a relationship with a person because they fell asleep because of fatigue, something they could not really control. So any hiccup for them is likely to be perceived by them as a deal breaker. Also, what I've noticed about people who have this type of mindset is that it can really open up a door for you to experience disappointment after disappointment. Not only disappointment, but being resentful as well. I'll explain what I mean. I've seen that at times, the fact that you think that this specific person is your soulmate does not necessarily think that that person thinks that you are their soulmate. So in your mind, in your head, because you're convinced that this person is your soulmate, you are accepting of behaviors that truly should be intolerable, but because you believe this person is the one, you feel like, I'm stuck with this person and me and this person are meant to be, and thus I need to put up with this person because there's no one out there for me except this person. So you see cases at times, for an example, a girl and a guy, and obviously the roles can be reversed, where the lady truly believes that this guy is her soulmate. And the guy's actions are not proving or not saying anything about the lady being his soulmate. So he goes around acting in ways or acting in manners that doesn't even show that he's in a relationship. So she's then accepting of this person going around impregnating every second woman around. And in her mind, she's just like, he's gonna come back to me, he's my soulmate. Or a guy who constantly keeps breaking up with her, goes and dates other people, and when things don't work out to those other people, he comes back to this type of woman because he knows very well that she loves him so much and that she's gonna, accept him or welcome him back with warm arms. And she keeps on taking him back. When he moves on with her life, she has the mentality that he's the one, he's my soulmate, we are gonna end up together. And that is what I meant when I say that this mentality can open up a door to disappointment after disappointment, because a person who truly does not see you in that light will then continue to disappoint you, because perhaps to them they can do better than you or whatever they truly think in their minds. But it can open up a door of disappointments and you end up becoming resentful. You end up becoming a person that you are not, because you spend your whole life waiting for this person while he's living out his life with different people. You spend your whole life waiting for this person, and even if you do carry on, you are just wasting time with people. But in your heart of hearts, you know very well that should that person come knocking on your door, you are going to dump and leave the person you're with to go back to this ex of yours, or to go back to your so-called soulmate. And like I mentioned, the roles can be reversed, right? Where it is actually the lady, where she goes about living your life, and the moment you move on with a good woman, she always comes back and disrupts everything. And because you believe she's the one for you, you will drop literally everything for her. But once you've dropped everything for her and once she's found someone else, she moves on, and that type of thing. Like, it can go either way. You just can't live life like that. Or should I say, you should not live your life accepting things that you know very well do not bring you peace just because you believe that this person is the one. There are people who can and who are compatible with you, people who will love you in ways that you truly do want to be loved in, and still not deliberately cause infliction or bring about infliction, because they truly care about you, they care about your well-being. And yes, you can truly and fully be happy with that person and find fulfillment in that relationship because you are being loved in ways that are healthy. And this is not saying that you're settling, right? Where a person comes and you're just like, oh, because they love me, let me just, this is not saying that you're settling, no. This is saying that when it comes to these type of things, when it comes to love, for instance, love supersedes what you're feeling. Yes, it does include and it is inclusive of how you feel, but it supersedes what you feel. It's a commitment, right? It's coming to a realization and introspecting yourself. What are the things that you truly need out of a partner, rather? What are the values that you truly need out of a partner in order for you guys to build together? And once you found those values in that person, it's also accepting that this person is not going to be perfect, and that the chances are this person from the get-go might not get you 100%, but they are willing to grow in learning you so that they can love you better. better. As humans, we are forever evolving, we are forever growing. So even when you are, for instance, married, and when you are with someone that you truly love and you like, we get one another on so many levels. It just doesn't end there. You have to continuously put in effort to grow with your partner and to understand your partner better on different levels of their journey in life. The person that I was 5 years ago is definitely not the type of person that I am today. A person who knew me 5 years ago and says, I really know Lucy, would not be accurate, because I've changed, I've evolved, and thus the people that I am in relation with have to put in the effort to continuously grow with me, as I also put in the effort to continuously grow with them throughout the different journey and phases of life. So to think that a perfect partner or perfect mate exists is really unrealistic. And you know what the sad thing is, and truly made me sad? I actually recall watching a show where these two people were married. And the girl was married to the guy, yet she was out here saying, yes, I'm married to this guy, but I don't believe he's my soulmate. And I was just like, jaw drop. Why did you think it was a good idea to marry a person, yet you saying you knew, and you still saying that this person isn't your soulmate? And so she used the soulmate concept as a reason for divorce. Some people who are unhappy in their marriages sometimes claim that they did not marry their soulmate, and therefore they should divorce this person and continue with their search of finding their soulmate. And that's exactly what that girl did. After that, when she divorced the guy, she continued searching for her soulmate. And the thing is with such people is that they haven't came to a realization that marriage on its own is hard work, and there's no running away from it, even when you are happily married. So for the fact that you have to put in work into marriage doesn't mean the person's not your soulmate, or when your so-called soulmate comes, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky-dory and you are not going to have to lift a finger to sustain the relationship. No. And hence their first solution for hiccups is, they are not the one, I'm dumping you, I'm leaving you. Marriage is a lot of work. Relationships are a lot of work and compromise. People who actually do not have the type of mindset, you'd notice that the majority of them, and yes, it's not all of them, have a mindset that is motivated to find solutions. When they encounter a problem, in their mind they are thinking, what steps can we take to rectify A, B, and C? What can we do to not encounter this type of situation? What can we do to make sure, or to rather minimize the chances of us encountering this problem or this disagreement again? Their mindset is motivated by solution as opposed to people who believe in soulmates. And so guys, you can be compatible with a person in terms of your beliefs, in terms of your ideas in life, your values as well. And so you need to focus on the virtues that are going to sustain a good relationship, the virtues that are going to sustain a good marriage. Things like your shared values and your common interests as well. And yes, you should have non-negotiables, things that you know very well, these things I will not negotiate. If a person does not have good manners, for instance, I will kindly excuse myself from getting to further know any person who does not have good manners. Type of things like that. You should focus on the things that you know very well are non-negotiables, and therefore do not settle when it comes to your non-negotiables, no matter how much it might feel right. And then there should be things that you know very well important things that sustain a marriage and sustain a long-lasting marriage, which you should always be on the lookout for. Well, that's it on today's video, guys. Please make sure that you like the video, leave a comment down below and tell me what did you think of this video. If you have not subscribed by now, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. If you would like to be notified whenever I upload new and fresh content, please also make sure that you smash the notification bell down below. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.